Are now simultaneously also live on Facebook. Alrighty. Okay, so as someone who comes from two different states of India, I literally grew up speaking multiple languages from India. Oh my God, 100 degrees. Dang. Wow. Yeah, so wherever you are, if it's a hot day, of course you don't want to spend too much time in the kitchen. So we are actually trying to beat the clock too. I took a day off from work from our restaurant. My family owns restaurants in Manhattan. So I took the day off from work so I could actually get in here and spend some time with mom and also cook with her in the kitchen. She's going to keep on passing down instructions and I'm going to make this. We are making a shrimp with bottle gourd. So you can see the shrimp is nicely seared. Okay, so mom says the next thing that has to go in is the ginger paste. Now I've used organic ginger, so I've used it with the peel and everything. If your ginger is not organic, then definitely wash it really well, peel it off, and then only use the inside part, okay? So this is the combination of the ginger and the bay leaves, very aromatic. It doesn't involve a whole lot of ingredients, just the basic aromatics from Bengali cuisine. And my mom is from West Bengal, so it's a different cuisine than Bangladesh. But you know, we grew up eating Bengali food and Punjabi food all the time because my mom and dad are both from two different states. So we grew up eating food from both the states. We grew up speaking all those languages. And so as adults, my sister and I were both multilingual. And we also married people who were not from neither one of those states. So we kind of added more languages and more food cultures to our repertoire by doing so. I'm just gonna keep giving this a saute. I started out with mustard oil and I have not added any more extra mustard oil to this. If you're vegetarian, just follow the recipe and do it only with the bottle gourd or the loki. Don't use the shrimp or use just potatoes and bottle gourd. It'll still work. What do you want me to put? No. Okay, so now mom says that I have to cover this for a little while till the potatoes are kind of halfway done. But lao theke to jol berobe tokhono to alu ta aro cook hobe, right? Okay, so my mom says that we have to kind of saute the potatoes a little bit more and give them a little color so they won't have that raw smell. So I think I need to add a little bit of oil. I'm using a non-stick wok and I think it's best because otherwise the ginger paste tends to stick to the bottom of the pan and starts to burn. So I'm just going to continue to sear this. I'm using Idaho potatoes. You can use any potatoes of your choice. If you have any questions, I can take questions now. I am sneaking a peek at the comments. So if you have any questions about Indian food in general, if you have questions about this particular recipe, Bengali cuisine, Indian food, whatever it is that you need. Now this ginger tends to bounce around a lot because I know that there was water in it. So I'm just going to turn the heat to medium. And this is going to saute and get a little color. The next step that we have to do is to add the squash or the bottle gourd, whatever you're using. Some people make this with really tiny shrimp. I am actually using the really big one, so I cut every shrimp piece in half. I've used the 1620 shrimp, which is like the really big one that we use for the grill and for barbecues. So you can use smaller shrimp. It's really a good way to add flavor. Also, smaller shrimp is the inexpensive way to add like a nice ocean flavor to your vegetarian dishes. If you're vegetarian, of course, then you don't need to do this. But if you like shrimp, then this is a good dish for you. If your family loves shrimp, you can pretty much sneak any vegetable into shrimp and make them eat it, right? So that might be a good trick that you could follow. Alrighty. Bharti ma'am, good afternoon. How are you today? Ami law diye chingdi ranna korchi, ma ache ekhane. So that's what I'm doing. And I think I cut some of the potatoes very small, which is why it's becoming quite grainy. So between the ginger granular texture and the potatoes breaking down, it's quite grainy. Okay, so Big Boss is saying to put the squash. I have to check with her before I do any steps because she's the boss of this recipe. And huh? Dalbo. I'm going to give this a gentle toss. The shrimps we had just marinated with salt and turmeric, nothing fancy, and just kept it for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then that's how they have this nice golden yellow pinkish color. So I'm just going to give this a gentle toss. This is the mixture that we had, which contains the turmeric, the red chili powder, and the coriander seed powder. So that's going to go in. It also has salt. So there will be some liquid that the squash will release. And there will also be this liquid that is just coming from this thing. I am going to rinse this and save the liquid here so that I can add that back. All the flavors should not get wasted. Give me 2 seconds, I'll be right back. Okay, so whenever you do this, you just give it a good shake so that you don't waste any of the goodness. And then immediately just stick it in there. So this will take about, I think 10 to 12 minutes. So I am going to increase the heat between medium and high. I'm going to mix everything in. এখন তো জল দিলাম, এখন কি করে ভাজা হবে? শ্রিম্পটা তো হার্ড হয়ে যাবে। এখন কভার করব না? Yes, okay. So I'm just going to let this come to a sear, and then I am going to put a cover on it. Thank you, Kamleshji, you're so sweet. For all the people that are joining, I know I see your names on TikTok. I'm not able to catch the names. It's going very fast, so forgive me if I've missed your name. But I see you. I promise you I will answer all of the comments and questions if you have. And I will address it. So this is simmering. Now I have to grab my garam masala, which is a combination of cardamom. Eta to no, eta ki? Eta Salim Shefer banano. Eta garam masala ei ache. Kali mirchi ache. Acha, so eta na. Okay, so we are going to make our own version of garam masala because we have to do the Bengali version, okay? So the Punjabi garam masala or the North Indian garam masala is not going to cut it. Let's do our own version of it. I'm going to turn this heat to medium so I can actually clean my mortar and pestle. What does it need? Elaichi and oh, I don't think I have dalchini. I have dalchini powder. Okay, so this needs Ruby. How are you? That ami lao diye chingri ranna korchi mar shathe. So this is going to call for cardamom and then cloves and cinnamon. I don't have a cinnamon stick. I'm all out, so I might add a little bit of cinnamon powder. 3-4 লবঙ্গ দেবো? About 6 cloves, 3 cardamoms. And then mom wants to munch on a clove, so I'm going to hand it to her and be back, you know. I did find a teeny tiny cinnamon stick, which is right here. Of course, you need a bigger piece. And I have one more cardamom that was escaping me. So we're just going to grind it, you know, and make our own little version of garam masala. Not the kind that you have in North India, which has the cumin and the black pepper. That's not the one we're going for. We are going for Bengali garam masala, which is only the trinity of cloves, cinnamon, and cardamom. I'm going to grab my pestle and we're going to pound the shit out of it till we get something that loosely resembles a powder. Time to give this a gentle stir. Okay, you see that the squash is also releasing a lot of moisture. Now I'm going to cover it for all the moisture to be drawn out. And then the shrimps and the potatoes will cook in that moisture, so that would be really nice. Lau kata hoye geche. Ruby bolche lau kata hoyni. Na lauta kata hoye geche. It's inside. Okay, and thank you for everybody that's tuning in from TikTok. I appreciate it. This is our cardamom, cinnamon, and cloves. We are going to pound this. Ruby is a great cook. So Ruby is tuned in right now and she's a phenomenal cook. Like whatever she touches, she makes it to perfection. So I'm a huge fan of Ruby's food. I don't know why She went into the medical profession. She should have only been a chef. Okay, এটাকে কি বারিক করে মিহি করে পিসতে হবে? শেষের দিকে দিতে হবে। হ্যাঁ, শেষের দিকে। Okay, so this is something that's going to go in the dish all the way in the end. I'm trying to do as much justice as I can. I think I may have to step away from the stove and like grind it because I'm not getting the stability that I need. I'll be right back. You guys keep an eye on this. Okay, so I was hard at work. I'm still working. I'm pounding it, and then I take the time. And you know what? I may need to switch. দিচ্ছি না মাম্মি, এখন দিচ্ছি না, বুঝতে পেরেছি পরে দিতে হবে, সেটা তো বুঝলাম. I think I might need to use my marble one. So I'm just going to take out the black pepper from here. Put this little guy here. I should have planned this better, right? But I just decided to do it off the cuff. And I was like, hey, you know, let me just go live and make this. This is also my way of creating moments which I would otherwise not be able to capture without mom. And I don't live in the country that she lives in or in the state that she lives in. So whenever we cook together, I try to capture those moments and kind of, like right now, she just asked me, where is her underwear after the laundry? And I'm like, Mom, you're live. Everybody can hear you. So that's just, you know, that's moms for you. They'll say what they're... Okay, so now this dish has to be a combination of savory and with a hint of sweet. Like a lot of Asian dishes, Bengali cooking also uses just a hint of sugar in their savory dishes to balance the saltiness and the umami. Atota di, dekho? Dekhi pacchi. Arektu. Okay, so little more. I just put my hand right over the steam hole and then it burnt me. So I'm going to put in this much sugar. It's just white sugar. You can see so much moisture is actually coming out of the gourd. This is looking good and it's cooking well. So all of the squash or the bottle gourd, whatever you're using, is going to get reduced and squished out. This is pretty, it's almost 50% done. It's not raw, but it's not fully cooked. The potatoes are coming along really nicely. You can actually press them and see if they are tender or not. It still has a little bit to go. So I'm going to halfway hoye gache. So I'm just going to put the lid back on and put it on medium heat. I'm going to go back to grinding the garam masala. ও আচ্ছা, রুবি বলছে যে লাউ চিংড়িতে যদি ঝিরি ঝিরি কাটা হয় তাহলে ভালো হয়। আচ্ছা, আমার মামার বাড়িতে এইভাবেই করা হয়, so we're just sticking to that, but thank you for the tip. So Ruby is suggesting that instead of cutting chunks of the bottle gourd, we should have actually cut it into juliennes, and sometimes it gives a really good mouth feel. So now I'm making the garam masala that's going to go into the dish. Not yet, it's going to be the last addition that we're going to put in. This is just the cinnamon, the cloves, and the cardamom. Yeah, it's better in the marble pestle because then you can really go back and grind it to become a fine powder. You can also use your coffee grinder to make this. Just put everything in equal proportions. You don't have to dry roast anything in the Bengali garam masala, which is quite different from when you make the North Indian garam masala where you have to dry roast all the spices. So this is coming along. I'm going to let it sit. I think I burnt my hand from the steam. But you know what? It's a part of the game. If you want to eat good, you have to get in the kitchen. Alright, so skin gulo ki ber kore debo. So mom says you can leave the skins in. You don't have to weed them out. That's fine. This is how much of a fine powder I got. It's not super fine, but it's not super chunky either. It's not coarse. I'm going to give this another stir. Hello Ramaji, good afternoon. आ जाओ तो आपको खिलाएं लौकी and shrimp with ginger paste and Bengali garam masala. একটা কাঁচা লঙ্কা দেবে? Okay, so now I just reminded mom to put a green chili. I don't eat green chilies, but when it's an authentic recipe, I don't want her to compromise by settling for anything less than what she is used to and what her taste buds are used to. So we are going to add duto. Oh my god. Okay, duto. So one is not enough. She's saying to put 2 green chilies. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And
make it half.
I think I'm going to cut it in half. Right? I'm going to cut it in half and then probably slit it a little bit. Same thing with this one. So these are not the Thai red chilies. This is a little bit bigger than that, so a little less heat, if you will. If you want it super spicy, you can obviously add more. I don't add any heat to my food, but my mom says this is the way to do it. So you know what? When you're following mom's recipe, you got to do it exactly the way mom said to do it. That's the plan, Stan. Alrighty, so let's just go ahead and... এখন দিয়ে দেবো? কাঁচা লঙ্কা? Okay, so mom says put it now. For everybody that's new to this page, give me a follow. Show some likes or some shares so more people can come onto this page and we'll know where all the flavor lovers of this world are. I also teach Indian cooking. If you're on this page right now, you can head over to my website for a free chana masala download. There is a recipe for you. If you go to my website, queenscurrykitchen.com, if you have any trouble, just leave me a DM or send me a private message and I will send you a link to the free recipe download. You can make that recipe whenever you get a chance. It's the simplest recipe involving it already অনেক থকথকে হয়ে গেছে
না আরো হবে
আরো হবে
বলবে আরো তো
শুকনো হতে হবে
ডালনা মতন হবে না
ও তো আরো জল দিতে হবে
না সেদ্ধ হয়নি তো
it's dry but
এখন সেদ্ধ হয়ে ভাজা ভাজা হলে তারপর একটু জল দিয়ে একটু আটা গোলা দিই
Okay, so mom said I have to add some water later on. I do have to sear it more and cook it completely. Then I'm going to add some water. And on the side, I do have to make a slurry of water and a little bit of flour. Regular whole wheat flour, chapati flour, roti flour, whatever you want to call it. That's what we use at home. And so that's what's going to be used towards the end to give it that texture. So I'm just using regular flour. As you can see, I'm going to add this to this cup.
No more.
That's it?
No more.
Yeah, just a little bit. So everything is with eyeballs. There's no measurements. I'm going to add some water to this. And this will be the slurry that's going to thicken our dish towards the end. That will be the finishing touch. Just make sure it's nice and smooth. Not cornstarch, not baking flour, just good old atta or the flour with which we make rotis. Okay, so this is set on the side. What is the next step, mother? এখন আমাদের কি করতে হবে জল দেব
ভাজা ভাজা মশলাটা ভেতরে জল দিলে
Okay, so mom says don't add any water now. All of this stuff that we have put, all the masalas, all the spices will actually go inside the shrimp and inside the squash. And then we gole gache bharta bene gache alu. So the potatoes are pretty much fully cooked and I did something really stupid and I cut them into different sizes. So now the cooking temperature of all the potatoes is quite different. So don't make that mistake. Make all your potatoes the same size so that your vegetables will cook at the same time and you won't have to worry about half cooked and half uncooked vegetables like I have to worry about, okay? So I didn't want to mess up mom's recipe, but I guess by the time she came in the kitchen, I'd already started cutting them small and then she said, hey, don't do that, cut it a little big. So that was the story. Now, since it's pretty seared, I have to add a little water. Kotota jol debo, eituku?
দাও দাও পুরোটা দাও আরো দাও
So she says add a little water.
মশলাটা ঢুকবে আর এই আটাটা গোলা হচ্ছে তো
হ্যাঁ. And then we're going
to
to simmer this. The water and the boiling of everything together is going to help to create a stock which is very flavorful and it's also going to help all the salt and the savory that penetrate your protein and your vegetables, especially potatoes take up a lot of salt. So this bubbling liquid is going to enable all of that. It's really smelling very good right now. It's looking very creamy. Mom says let it bubble for a few minutes and then only we're going to add the slurry. I'm going to check this for salt. Noon mishti kichu lagbe? Okay, so mom says it needs ek to noon. Ek to noon means a little bit of salt. I have a very light hand with salt. And especially if I'm following someone's recipe, I don't like to put an overload of it because then it's hard to take it out. It's easy to add, but hard to remove. So just gonna give it a good stir. You see that the shrimp starts to really hold up its shape. Finishing ashbe. Purota debo na. So mom said now add the slurry and then just give it a stir. So when you add the slurry, your curry gets like a nice finishing touch. And I think I have to put a little more water because it's becoming very thick very quickly. So she says that you have to allow this to boil so that the flour will be cooked and there won't be any raw taste of the flour. So I added a little bit more water to enable that. Dhone pata jabe? Dhone pata jabe? Okay, so there is no cilantro that's going to go on this, just this. Should I put the cover on? Okay, now is the time to put the last aromatic, which is the garam masala, which is the Bengali garam masala. We're going to put that. This is the finishing touch. That's going to go in. Superbly aromatic. Okay, so that's gone in. And then I have to add 2 teaspoons of ghee to give it that nice rich flavor. So towards the end of the cooking process, we're just going to drizzle some ghee. Ruby, do you make it the same way or do you make it differently? I'd love to know. Because different families make the same thing differently. Different regions in the same state cook the same dish differently. Right? So it's always nice to know, like, it's like the apple pie recipe. Like every grandma has their own apple pie recipe. So it's pretty much one of those things. Okay. Hi, Sarla. How are you today? It's good to see you here. We are making shrimp with loki, which is lau chingri, a Bengali dish that is being made by me under my mom's supervision for my daughter. So 3 generations are involved in making this. Right? If you have a daughter or a son who makes grandma cook for them, let me know in the comments what is that dish that your mom cooks for your children. I would love to hear that. Is this done? Take a dhaka diye dobo? So this is okay. So mom says once you've added the garam masala, you should not heat your curry too much because it takes away the aromatics. So we're not going to overcook this. I just turned off the heat. You also don't need to cover it. Just let it sit. You'll see all the ghee is on the top. You can see the aromatics. You can see the garam masala. And I tell you, it smells incredible in here. I'm sure when my daughter comes back from work, she's really going to pounce on this because she's going to love, love, love this dish, right? Hey, Tim, how are you? I hope you're doing well and you're recovering. I'm sending you lots of healing vibes. For all the people that are tuning in on TikTok, if you want to get the recipe for the chana masala, it's a free download. Let me know in the comments or then send me a private message and I will send you a link to the website. If you want to go there directly, the website is www.queenscurrykitchen.com. I was going to plate this, but I just really don't know how and in what, but I think I'm going to plate a little bit in here and show you what it looks like. I think that's what we should do. So you can actually see the beauty of the dish. And then I'm going to bring it really up close. So the green chilies do add a little bit of pizzazz and that zing